Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a great morning. And today we got something a little bit different, a little bit exciting here for you. And we are going to take a look at the various nickel designs for the U.S. coins, okay, that were produced over time. First up, first of all, the coins highlighted here are simply for reference. It's an identification guide because some folks have been known to pull various older coins through coin rolls or pocket change, and they just need a quick identifier. This will highlight all four designs that have been made for the U.S. nickel. So you'll want to bookmark this or add it to your playlist if it's something that you find useful as kind of an identification guide again. So up first is the shield nickel. This coin was designed by James Longacre, who is also accredited to producing and designing, not producing, but designing one of the most widely known coins in the Indian head set. Okay, it's one of the most widely collected today. In contrast, the shield nickel doesn't have quite as much love. It's probably on the bottom 10% in terms of collectability for a lot of people, and this is what I strongly believe as being one of those series that's really ready to break out for a number of reasons, and I'll go into that here in a second. But to give you an idea of the tenure of this particular design, it goes from 1866 to 1883. So it's a relatively short tenure by today's standards. The shield nickel is approachable in a couple different ways. While there are a number of coins with low mintages, there are a few, I would say, somewhat prohibitive dates featured within the series, one of which is the 1880. Okay, there was only 16,000 pieces that were produced for this particular year. They going into the thousands of dollars, even in the low grades. But aside from that, a lot of the other coins are approachable, in terms of dollar value. You could really pick up the series and collect probably 80-85% of the dates in various grades with relative ease. Okay, these are always available because they're not as widely collected as some of the other dates. There is a reverse variation for the 1866 and 67 dates, the first 2 years, where the designer, Mr. Longacre, had added rays to the reverse, and they will go in between the stars. They're really neat and interesting coins. With the rays, they really add that extra design element that gives it that extra kind of, I guess, desirability factor. But even still, those two dates with the rays on the reverse, again, very much approachable, affordable. Examples can be had for around $25 to $40 in nice condition. So it's a really great series, and one that I foresee breaking out here in the near future. On the side note, proof coins exist in this series, and the mintages are really low. Okay, so if you have $1,000 or less, and you wanted to invest in a coin with a really low mintage, and I mean a few hundred up to 1,000, this is definitely the way to go. And the coins themselves exhibit really nice proof features, not as strong as you would typically see today, but the coins themselves are visually stunning and very attractive. All right, up next we have the Liberty Head Nickel. Okay, the Liberty Head Nickel has a somewhat short tenure also. These were produced from 1883 to 1913, 1913 being the exception because they only made 5 pieces, and they're well known throughout like the news and everything like that these coins sell in excess of $1 million. So in hindsight, The series goes up to 1912 in my estimation, because 1913 is one of those anomaly type, one-off years where, the mint made a few special pieces to be given out to certain individuals. But the series is produced and designed, or it's designed, I don't know why I keep saying produced, but it's designed by Charles E. Barber, of the Barber quarter, dime, and $half fame, as we all know. And this particular set, again, same boat as the Shield Nickels. They're flying under the radar in terms of ready to break out. It's a short series. There are a few key dates that you want to know about. 1886 and 1885 are what I would consider to be the big stoppers for decent graded coins that you can easily spend $1,000 or more. Once you get into the mint state examples, it's many thousands of dollars. So aside from that, the set can be started, and you could, if you put together like a nice fine or VF set, that would be relatively affordable. Plus, you'll have an eye-appealing type of set to collect. The coin wears really fast, and typically coins that exhibit full Liberty on Liberty's crown or tiara are some of the more, I guess, desirable looking pieces to have. So if you were going to collect this particular set, you'll want to find something with a little bit of eye appeal in that way. One thing of note, the 1883, the first year of this Liberty Head Nickel design, featured a reverse where they did not add the cents at the bottom, and that posed a problem during its day. Unscrupulous counterfeiters would gold dip these and pass them off as half eagles. So you could come across, if you went to a coin show or a shop, you can actually come across some of these older gold-plated coins. They're really kind of like a neat part of history, but it gives you an idea of like, oh, okay, these were counterfeited and passed as gold, and yeah, people were duped as a result. So, and you shouldn't have to pay a premium for those, but, it's a really neat coin nonetheless. And one more thing, if you wanted a really nice, inexpensive proof coin, Liberty Head Nickels certainly has your back on that. I've picked up a number of examples for the $200 to $300 range. The cool thing is the mintages on the proof coins for this series is very low. In some cases down as low as $1,500, $1,700, and you're not going to find one that's over $5,000. I think the 1909 with 4,700 pieces is the exception. It's kind of like on the high side, but that's why it's a little bit more affordable. Again, the series is not nearly as loved as my next two design types, but this is, again, one of those series that's destined to break out. All right, and then up next, we have probably one of the more popular coin series in history, and that's the Buffalo Nickel. Okay, you guys know this. The Buffalo Nickel was designed by James Earl Frazier. Okay, he's very well known for this series, and the series goes from 1913 to 1938. The series in itself is wildly popular. Okay, if one were to get into collecting the series, you might want to start out with VG, because there is a number of various key dates represented within the series, one of which is the 1913 S Type 2 coin, which is, I'm not going to say near impossible to find for a reasonable amount of money, but if you started around good or VG for this particular coin, you'd be better off in terms of the inexpensive factor. I know it's kind of hard to chew on that one, because you could easily spend a few $2,000 or $3,000 for a VG set of Buffalo Nickels. Now, there's a lot of coins, okay, all throughout the series that are affordable in higher grades. A lot of the Philly minted coins are going to be your hot ticket. Another one is 1913 Type 1. Is really inexpensive in like mid-state 64 and 65. Okay, you can find examples between $100 to $200, and they're a coin that you want to get because they're kind of like the place marker for the series. A couple of the other key dates I would keep an eye out for is the 1913D Type 2, the 1914D, which is a nice, relatively low mintage coin and a very desirable one. The 1915S is another coin to look out for. The 21S is a key date. 26S, and of course you have your various various die varieties. Like the coin that you see on screen here is the world famous three-legged buffalo. It's the 37D. Okay, these are coins that are very well sought after, and the cool part is these are very cherry pickable. You can cherry pick these out of like a dealer, bin of just regular good to VG coins. They're very identifiable. So there is money to be made in the cherry picking part of it, where you can find double dies and abraded dies and two feather varieties and repunchment marks. They're all around this series. The cool thing is, in spite of the number of key dates represented in the series, you could jump into this series fresh with no coins and really assemble a really nice collection. Okay, the cool part is there are coins for the affordability, and then if you really want to be the high-end collector, they have those coins that you could buy for $20,000-$30,000 or higher. They're really well represented in there. And then finally, okay, we're going to wrap it up with a coin that you and I are very well accustomed to because it's out in pocket change today, and that's the Jefferson Nickel. So there has been a little bit of overlap between the Jefferson Nickel and the Buffalo Nickel, where coins were produced in both design types in 1938. So the 1938 designed Jefferson Nickel would go all the way up to what you see in pocket change today. Now the modern iteration of the Jefferson Nickel has a modified portrait on the obverse, among a few other one-shot type coins. In 2005 they did the bison back, and then the peace and the ocean in view. There are a few really neat, cool design types that are very widely collected. If you were to look in circulation, these coins are actually starting to dry up just because of the novelty factor. So this is a series, okay, that appeals to both the the low-end collector that doesn't want to spend a whole bunch of money, to the collectors that really want to spend tens of thousands of dollars, okay, which is kind of hard to believe because in terms of key dates, there's only two, okay, and that's the 39D and the 50D, where at key date status, you could pick these up in mid-state in BU for around $20 to $30. It's really affordable, but in the grand scheme of things, people are also collecting these by strike type. So the coins with the best strike are called full steps. They'll exhibit the full steps on the reverse on Monticello. If there's 5 or 6 full steps represented, that is considered a full strike, and collectors are paying huge premiums for these type of coins, sometimes 6 figures. So again, this is a series that anybody could get into because the coins are very widely available. But here's the good news: Jefferson Nickels has probably never been more popular than it is today. It is just behind Lincoln Cents in terms of desirability for a lot of collectors in all different stages. So your advanced, your beginners, your intermediaries, they all love this series because it is very approachable, and there's a lot of great coins that you can invest in for the future. So, and again, it's a series where there's a lot of double dies and repunch mint marks, and the proof coins are very inexpensive. Pick up a proof set for about $5, and then there's going to be a really nice proof nickel in there for you. Okay, you don't have to spend $200-$300 like you would in the Liberty Head nickel, okay, which is the next least expensive proof coin to collect. But anyways, and by the way, I didn't say this, but the Jefferson Nickel series was designed by Felix Schlag. Okay, it's kind of a mouthful. And there are silver nickels to be found during the war years of 1942 and 1945. On the reverse, you'll have a big, huge mint mark above Monticello, and that's how you identify these coins. The coins themselves, in worn condition, sell for about $1.25 a piece. Not too bad for a pocket change find. But there are albums and various types of trifold type albums available for this set, which makes it really easy. Okay, so anyways, that is your identification guide for U.S. nickels. As you can see, I also did not talk about half dimes. That's a completely different subject. The coins are way smaller. They're about as big as a fingernail, So, and they're dubbed fish scales. But I found it not appropriate to add this to the list because they were produced in silver, and it was just a different age. Those coins had a different place marker in history. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. As always, go ahead and hit the like button if you enjoy the content. It's a very beginner-centric type of guide for you. And, if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe, Blue Ridge Silverhound. It's a lot of great stuff that I talk about: coins, history, currency, anything that revolves around money, precious metals we talk about as well. So, it's a pleasure. Thank you for all the support that you've given me over the years. And I'm going to keep doing this for you. So you guys enjoy your afternoon, and talk to you soon.